faith, family, business, adventure. This is the Phoenix Podcast with Ken Sharpe.
Good evening and welcome to the Phoenix Podcast Show with truly yours, Ken Sharpe. Tonight on our show, we're so privileged and humbled to have Nutty O, or as they say in Jamaica, Diboyman. Popularly known as Nutty O, born Carrington Simbarashe Chiwadzwa, 31-year-old Zimbabwean music artist, multiple award-winning singer, songwriter, independently recording under his very own brand, Ability Xtention, ABX, which symbolizes the never-ending pursuit of growth. And I love that, Nutty O. We have to talk about that. Having launched his professional career in 2013, so that puts you at 18 years old, I think, the young versatile artist and inevitably established influencer has already registered some mouth-watering milestones, varying from hit chart toppers, show headliners, both home, regionally and abroad, right up to featuring on a Grammy-nominated project. In the last 2 years, you've joined the high rotation of those artists out there earning numerous accolades. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mr. Ken Sharpe. I'm honored to be here.
So tell us, Nutty O, how did you start music? Take us back to the beginning, your roots, where you were born, where you came from, how your life was as a youngster, and what led you into music.
Yeah, born and bred in Bari. It's one thing to have to look for music and one thing to be with the music. I was born with the music, I believe, because you could tell from early influences growing up, only music would make me lose sleep. I could do music, I could sing for my mom, I could sing for my peers, I could mimic other artists and do all of these things with the music. And I found joy doing music, I found life doing music, I felt alive whenever I was doing music. And there's an elderly guy from Mbari where I grew up. He used to make me listen to reggae music every time. When he's back from work, when he's relaxed, not doing anything, playing music, I would be there sitting next to him. And his name was Man Soldier. And every time, I would also find time to just make sure I pass through his yard and check if he's around. If he's around, I would sit around, listen to reggae music. And from there, I could only know that I have a passion within me. My dad used to play UB40 for me growing up. And so Bob Marley. And as a Zimbabwean, we all have this reggae influence because of Bob Marley. Because Bob Marley is a person who's directly involved in our independence somehow. In that seed, we all grew up listening to reggae music, be it Peter Tosh, the Yellowmans, the Bob Marley, the UB40s, and all of that. So yeah, fast forward into the lane. I found myself singing at school every time, using the desk as a drum pad, do, do, ch, do, do. Even my peers would do that, even clap hands. I found myself singing. I found myself doing a lot of those things that had music within it. You get what I mean? In the knowledge that I would just naturally have about music, which artists, where is he from, how I would mimic certain artists. I could only tell this is passion, this is not just something I want to do for the likes or to look cool at school. I had the music within me. Then at a certain point in time, 2014, 15, I just decided whatever it is I was doing, because I was going to school, I've always been a scholar, I loved school. I was a brilliant kid at school, smart. But then whatever it is that I had at school would reflect more when I engage in musical things. So yeah, I decided, I want to pursue music because this is what I feel at heart I would do until I die without losing the enthusiasm. And I just found myself taking a bus, leaving Mbari from where I stay, and I had to go into DZ, which happens to be Zara Sekwa. And that time, DZ had a stake in the music scene. That's where you would find brilliant producers, brilliant artists, So, as they say, join them if you want to be like them sometimes. I had to take a bus, go to DZ.
Not knowing anyone.
Not knowing anyone, I had to take a chance. I would know people when I see them and say, you know what, I'm here. I'm a musician. Give me a chance.
How old were you?
I don't remember how old was I, but I remember I was in school. I was doing I think I just started my A-level.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went.
So 16, 17?
Yeah, the person I wanted, it was because I delayed going to school for A-level because there was an argument with my mom every time. I wanted to do music. My mom didn't want me to do music for reasons. And I understand it's within our cultural basis. The parents we have, some of them are not yet fully accustomed to the fact that you can take music as a career. So this has always been a case with my mom. I took time, sitting, thinking, contemplating on what really I wanted to do. My dad would take me to his workplace, wanted me to be a journeyman, a carpenter. He's a carpenter, class 1 journeyman. He wanted me to do that. I would go to work and help him. But you know what? I didn't want that. I would do that, but I would feel tired in the day. I would say, I can't do this. I have things that I love, things that I would love to do. So I was in between things. And it's important because you have to find yourself either way. Until at some point in time, I was like, okay, let me go to school. Let me fulfill your desires. You are my mom. I see you've been striving to make ends meet. I'll go to school, but whilst I do this, I might as well do the music. Let's do these things concurrently and see where it goes. So boom. I wanted to look for a producer called Alvan K. He was one of the best at the time. I couldn't find him. For some reason, I couldn't access him. I was heartbroken. And while I was on my way going back home, I bumped into a guy called Cash Libs, also a producer. And he took me to his studio. He asked me to do what I could do, and he loved what I did from that time. And he gave me an opportunity to record at his studio for free. And from that day, he gave me the first bus fare, and he said, you're going to be coming here, and you're going to be recording from this studio. And from that day, first song on radio, 2015, 2016, I got signed to Kenako Music. I did my first breakout song, Kwandava Kure, which played on BBC Radio 1 Extra. I did my first UK tour with that one song. I did my second song on the Kenako. Japreza identified me. 2017, I got signed to MTM under Japreza's stable, which was jointly his idea with XQ, to form a coalition of artists who kind of have an international appeal to the music. Artists who would drive the Zimbabwean music scene from where it was that time to the next level. Because look, we have been operating within our box, which is Zim. But look, music is a global thing. And everything else is a global thing nowadays. But we have to take this music to the next level. And that was the mantra behind Japreza and XQ forming MTM. And XQ, being my brother who has always been around, his family to me, said, I'll take you to Ja. Ja, as a person who has always seen me and loved my craft and admired me, took me in and said, I'll take you from this moment and you will learn whatever it is that you learn. I'll help you grow either way. 2017, from there, had my first, another hit song. Some would say first because it was a dancehall hit song. That's when it was a big breakout. The song was called Bugatti. Did another one with the whole team, the MTM crew, Japreza, XQ, and the Marizo, Tatle, me. It was called Chekeche. And many people got to see me through that song and got to get to identify me through that song. From there, it's an avalanche of growth. Took my first award, 2019. It was a single called Vroom. I was still under Japreza's MTM. Then 2020, somewhere down the line, we left MTM and I had to pursue my own path, and I'm still here within that very same path. Did my debut album 2021, Mustard Seed. People still say if you put a decade peg on this country's music up to this time, that's the best project that is ever dropped. That's the feedback I always get from people. Took everything there is to take with that album. Song of the Year, Artist of the Year, Artist of the Decade, you name it. Toured, played in many countries, featured two of my best international collaborations, I would say. Two of my best international collaborations featured DeMarco, a big Jamaican artist, featured Stoneboy, a big African superstar in International Act 2 from Ghana. And from there, things keep happening. Growth is visible. Growth is visible in every stage up to this time.
So let's go back. A young teenager, just starting out, not interested in school, but passionate about music. You knew what you wanted.
I was interested in school.
You were?
But I knew that there was something more definite with me.
So go back to how old were you when you were listening to the reggae from? Was it Soulja Man? What his name?
Man Soulja was making Man Soulja would make me listen to some reggae music. I was young.
Oh, yeah.
I was primary school. Grade 4, grade 5, grade 6.
10, 12 years old.
Many years back then. I was such a young child. And, you know, as a youth growing from Bari, you know how it goes. The elders, there is a league of the elderly that govern what happens within the area. And somehow, for you to acquire great knowledge, you have to be around them.
So they're influencing you, right?
They're influencing you with whatever. So whatever it is they influence you with, you become.
And this Man Soulja, was he a mentor? Was he just a neighbor?
I would say mentor in some sort, because he was a neighbor. I would walk a few Ks to his yard, because I remember my mom and Man Soulja were from the same generation.
Uh-huh.
You get what I mean? So I knew him. He's an elder, he's an overlord, kind of the area, Man Soulja. So I would go to him. He's the one guy who would tell me how to behave, how to maintain manners. It's manners and respect. You have to be a good, mannered individual within that scene for these guys to actually entertain you. So you have to be around, chill around.
So are we talking like a mafia kind of situation?
Kinda.
He's like the godfather of that
Kinda,
that area?
yeah, he was.
He's respected?
Yes, he was well respected.
So you don't want to mess around with him?
You don't want to mess around. He was well respected, and he's a guy who's well respected. And for them to take you in, and for them just to be in their presence, you have to be well-mannered,
right,
in a way.
On your best form.
Something about your character has to be appealing to them for you to be around them. And this guy would teach me a lot of things, morals, knowledge, tell you this, you don't do this, you do this, you don't do this, you do that. This is the way, go to school, do this, be obedient, all of that. And above all of that, the biggest connection was music, because every time I'm around him, it's reggae music playing. He's playing some Garnet Silk, he's playing some Sanchez. And you know, I would find myself singing for my peers now. I would find myself singing for my mom. At some point in time, my mom would use me as a sleeping lullaby. Yeah, a melody, you would say. You say, sing. I would sing. You get what I mean?
So go back to the school days. So you go to school in Mbari?
Yeah, I was, as far as school is concerned, I was kind of a nomad. I was in between schools. So, but started my primary school in Cheetown, grade 1, grade 2, and I came back to Mbari where I was born. Yeah? Because my mom and my dad separated that time. Uh-huh. So I would find myself...
Separated at grade 1 and 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would find myself in between places because my mom would be in Mbari and my dad would be Cheetown. So I'm Cheetown, I'm in Mbari. I'm in Cheetown, I'm in Mbari. And that would validate me being a nomad at school. So grade 1, grade 2, Cheetown. Then I came back to Mbare. Grade 2, grade 3, I was at St. Michael's Primary School. I left again. I went back to Cheetown.
Right.
You get what I mean? So I was in between primary schools.
And moving between dad and mom?
Moving in between dad and mom.
And how was that for you?
It's equally difficult. Psychologically, it does things to you. And I tell you, honestly, you don't see it that time. You only get to see it when you are now conscious of it at a certain age. But then, I'm a soldier. I was born and bred in Mbari.
And Man Soldier was mentoring.
Yeah, and that cannot be a difficulty. There are many things that could have been menacing in life that could have deterred me to be a better person, not moving in between mom and dad. You know, I would do it.
So hold on to that thought. You don't see it at the time. We'll be back in a few minutes. Thank you.
Faith, family, business, adventure. This is the Phoenix Podcast with Ken Sharpe. Faith, family, business, adventure. This is the Phoenix Podcast with Ken Sharpe.
And we're back with Nutty O, Dubois, and we're just talking about this painful experience, Nutty O. I hope you don't mind me bringing you back there, but I just want the audience to understand there are many children out there who don't have any parents that are listening to this tonight.
Yeah.
There are many children out there who don't have good influences.
Yeah.
You fortunately still had a mom, a dad.
Yeah.
Of course, they were divorced. And you had an influencer, a mentor,
Yeah.
a man soldier. So go back to those young days where you were in grade 2, mom and dad had got divorced. You were moving between Cheetown and Mbari. How was that for you? Now looking back, reflecting on it, how did it mold you? How did it shape you? And how did you overcome those hang-ups, those social traumas that could have affected you to become a dropout, to become someone who fails in life? Yet you're sitting here today as a successful musician.
So, you know, looking back, I can only tell you that you being in a situation where your parents are divorced is an unfortunate situation, because every child requires the guidance of their parents on the ground. Believe me, especially in these times, you need a parent around, be it a mother or father. You need them together around. It makes life easy. It makes a lot of things easy. In itself, it's a good prayer, having your parents around, nurturing you, molding you into the person they want you to be or they wish you become. It's a prayer in itself. There's a blessing that it carries. So me not having that, I would only tell you that I missed on that blessing, but I also regained it in some way, because every situation, every gain comes with an equivalent loss. My loss that I couldn't have these people around together to nurture me and teach me, I would have wished they would be there around me growing up, having them around, having this one intact family. But at the same time, like you're saying, a lot could happen. I could have been a drug addict. I could have been a school dropout, because there's no father figure around who can say, hey, you see, my mom is on the other side. She cannot fully curb a guy's energy, like a boy's energy. You know how it is. Boys have too much energy growing up. And it's not up to the mother sometimes to fully ground a boy. You need the father figure around. Many things could have happened to me. The psychological pain of just you seeing other children having their parents together. Mm-hmm. They're going on holidays. You know, they're having family gatherings, and these people are intact, and there's harmony around family. I think that's the biggest takeout. Not having family harmony is a blessing, because the harmony that the family brings around you it determines who you can be in the future. And psychologists have proven that certain things that children end up doing are based on their upbringing, what they used to see, what they used to feel. You know, you can't grow up in a family where you see fights, family where you know it's not a one strand of communication, squabbles, disagreements, and all of that. You know that you're not in a perfect cave. It has a psychological effect on you. It will temper with how you see things at a certain stage. And that's how I see it now. I see myself as a person who had no choice. I had to be strong. And believe me, maybe based on what God wanted me to be, maybe that situation had to be there. Because I believe God allows these situations to happen to people with a reason.
Amen.
I was supposed to be this Nutty O today, and that situation had to be there in that time. My mom and my dad probably had to separate for me to be here. Maybe I wouldn't have been here if they didn't separate. I would have been doing other things. I would have gone another different path. That's how now I see it. Because I cannot fully say the negatives and only see the negatives of that situation. I might as well tell you the positives. That situation became a blessing in disguise because I had to be this person. I had to become strong. I had to become this resilient individual. I had to become this great kid who sat down and analyze his situation. And I could only see that if I don't do something about my life, if I don't become focused, if I don't ground myself to do certain things and focus on a certain path, I would become anything else.
Focus is so important. Being grounded and having that faith in God that all things, my favorite verse in the Bible is Romans 8:28. It says all things work for the good to those who love God.
I don't have a mom and a dad in one place. I have them separated. The best thing I can do for myself is to see that situation and use that situation to be a better person.
Powerful.
Let that situation teach you to be a better kid. So if you look at me right now, I don't look like a kid who didn't have a mom and a dad. I look like they were all around because I molded myself into something better.
And your education, you speak eloquently. You could have gone to university, right?
Yeah.
You could be sitting with a Harvard graduate, but that's okay. I dropped out of school when I was 17.
I did a couple too. Did my digital marketing. I didn't drop out of school.
You carried on.
Carried on, yeah,
so
because my mom wouldn't let me. I did my telecommunications. Left it in the middle because now I was traveling with the music. I did my digital marketing. I'm a certified life coach.
Amazing.
Yeah. Recently, I've been planning on enrolling for some marketing. I want to do something to do with the modern digital age marketing and business because I believe I will use it in my music and I will use it entrepreneurial aspects of things. You have to be educated with a lot. You have to educate yourself with a lot of things. So my mom wouldn't let me leave school even. She could see this musical passion, that it was gigantic. She would still tell me, you know what, up to now, we sit down with my mom. She tells you, oh, so when is this telecommunications thing gonna be fulfilled? I still have to fulfill. I need to finish my telecommunications program along the way. Though I've been doing many things with academics, because the more
I love that. You have this saying that you have never-ending pursuit of growth.
Yes.
So I want you to talk about that in a minute. But let's go back to the forging of something valuable. So we know that diamonds are forged over millions of years of huge pressure.
Under
Gold
pressure.
is refined by the hottest fire. And we know God also allows us to go through those difficult times to refine us. So I have two questions for you. Going back to your childhood, and I asked this to some of my guests. Is it what your parents do for you that makes you, or what they don't do for you?
It's definitely what they don't do for you that makes you, but it is what they do for you that molds you to see that.
That's powerful.
Yes.
That's powerful. There's actually a Harvard professor who wrote a book called How You Measure Your Life, and he got cancer in the end. He survived it, but he wrote a book about life's meaning, and he talked about children, parents, upbringing, and he says in his research, in most cases, it's not what the parents do for their children that makes them, it's what they don't do for them.
Yes.
So by them not doing that for you, it created that friction that environment in which you were able to then thrive and become Nutty O.
Yeah.
And like you said, if it hadn't have been like that, probably you wouldn't be here
Probably
today.
they wouldn't be Nutty O like this, as resilient as this. I thank God for a lot of things. I even thank God for all that has happened around my parents too, because despite them being apart, if I was with my dad, I would still get what I would use. If I was with my mom, I would still get what I would use. Them being separated taught me to be the bridge between them. So in some instance, these people are not divorced because I am there. I am the bridge. I am what makes them link, communicate, and synchronize somehow. You get what I mean?
The glue that holds it together.
Yeah. So it's life is like that. How do you use these lemons? How do you use this sour thing that has been thrown to you? So if you give me mud, I might as well find a way to make a drink out of that mud. Make it useful at that time. So I don't see all of those situations now as a defect. I thank those situations. I thank God for putting me in a situation like that. My background has to be like that for me to be this person that I am today.
So talking about God and looking at the glass half full, there's a saying in our church, it's no matter how much success you have in the world, it never makes up for failure in the family. So in your own case now, you're a grown-up man. I don't know if you're married, have children or planning on that, having a family. But if you look at the United States, and you mentioned it, right, 90% of crime comes from, especially boys, comes from 90% of crime amongst men, comes from boys who didn't have a father in the home. They'd left the home.
Definitely.
So you look at that statistic as a social ill in a developed society. Here in Zimbabwe, we have many single-headed homes. How do you look at that then with your own future, for your own family, and for the influence you have of other children, maybe who are not your biological children, but look up to you as an influencer?
So you see, it's a very powerful point, and it's a deep perspective that needs to be, maneuvered through. If there is no father figure in the house, the foundation of the family is not firm. Let's say even just a parent, the parents being together, making one strand of control around, the family foundation is not strong. And my advice to many people out there who don't have fathers, who grew up with their parents separated, I would tell you that it's an opportunity to think through and see through and mold yourself into the bridge. Because when your parents are not there, you have seen other people. I've seen other households crumbling. I've seen what happens to people who don't have parents, who grew up without their parents around. I've seen. And that was a lesson. I wouldn't have seen it if my parents were around. I only got to explore that path because my parents were not together anymore. And I had to introspect, and I had to look into myself, and I had to look outside and see what happens, and see the world for what it is, and see that you cannot fully function without the guidance of your parents at a certain age. But if they're not around, you have to be the bridge. You have to focus. Your focus will be your guide. Your focus will be your guide. Your faith in God that you will be protected will be your guide. You have to ground yourself somehow, because now you have to see 360. Because when you have parents, you can only see 90 degrees or 45. The rest, they do it. But when they're not around, you have to see 360. And with the assistance of the Creator as well, you have to look around 360 and use yourself to be a bridge. Sharpen yourself within that situation and be a better person. Come out a great individual within that situation.
That's beautiful. Nutty O, in 2021, you launched Mustard Seed. You talked about it being probably the most successful album that you launched. And its debut came out. You won 4 Zimstar Awards. 1 million streams, I believe. Over 1 million streams. And the song goes along, forgive me if I didn't get the lyrics exactly right, but it goes along the lines of, Please help me, God, every day when I go out.
Mm-hmm.
I have a family
Mm-hmm.
who looks up to me.
Mm-hmm.
Open doors for me,
Open
God.
doors for me. Yeah.
Where did that come from, and how is your relationship with God? What is your religion like?
I believe in God. I'm a believer. I believe in God, and I believe God is the giver of everything. You see me here, the people who know me, from where I come from, they see me today, they see God's hand. They see God's brilliance, and they see I'm an instrument of God's benevolence. I've been fought, I've gone through situations that would have deterred any man equally to be just anything else. But I stood, and it's not because of me, it's God. God favored me somehow. I found Him
Amen.
favoring me at a certain point in time when I didn't deserve certain things. And I credit God with everything that I do. Because even if people would do things for me, even if I would meet destiny helpers, I would meet people who would take me to the next level, I know it's God, because God cannot do without people. God will always use people to bless you. So I always give credit to God. Everything that has happened to me. I would have been in the streets of Mbari right now. I would have been a statistic of some sort. I would have given up. My career wasn't a rosy road. It wasn't a bed of roses. I didn't get these things easily. I still face challenges and struggles up to this point in time, but I tell you, I always emerge victorious, and it's because of God.
Amen. Hold on to that thought. We thank God that you're not a statistic, Nutty O. We'll be back shortly.
Faith, family, business, adventure. This is the Phoenix Podcast with Ken Sharpe. Faith, family, business, adventure. This is the Phoenix Podcast with Ken Sharpe.
So here we are, humbled by Nutty O, a man who could have been a statistic on the streets of Mbari. But look at him today, and we thank God for that, Nutty O.
Yeah, man.
You posted a couple hours ago on your Instagram account, may those who seek my life be disgraced and put to shame. May those who plot my ruin be turned back in dismay. I think that was David talking about his enemies, right?
Yes.
So where does this come from? Do you read the scriptures, and how do you relate to them in your life and your music?
I read the scriptures. I grew up meditating on the scriptures. And for real, we cannot give up meditating onto the scriptures. It's a law. It's a condition. And it's funny, you read my Instagram post. I posted that yesterday because I was just coming from the mountains. I had gone for this whole week. I wasn't around. I was in the mountains. I was praying. But I always attribute myself to David. Short, stature, small person, tiny looking individual, but with great power. And this power comes from God.
Amen.
So I just wrote that because, it's situational sometimes when you go through your own personal, everybody else has their own spiritual path personally. And every time I'll be feeling like David, enough of my inspiration, I drew my inspiration from the story of Joseph and David. I feel like I'm the Joseph of Zimbabwean music. I am the David of this generation musically.
Wow. That is so powerful.
Yeah, and that's how it is. God has been the most instrumental part of my life, and without Him, I wouldn't have been here. Avenues wouldn't have opened, doors wouldn't have opened. So yeah, when I sing open doors, it was a heartfelt, fully godly inspired song when I was saying, bless me in my coming out and my coming in. You do not know when you go out, you don't know if you're going to come back home. We're living in terrible times. Nothing is certain. Tomorrow is a myth. You come out, you don't know if you're going to come back sometimes in one shape. So bless me, God, in my coming out, and my coming in. I have my mother, I have people, I have a whole generation of youths from Bari and other ghettos and areas, the whole Zimbabwe youth that look up to me. I speak to these kids every day. I speak to these people every day. They DM me every day. They text me. I see them when I'm driving. These people express how they feel when they see me and how my music has changed them and impacted them, how my music has empowered them to be better people. So I know what is at stake. I know how many people look up to me. I know kids look up to me. So bless me so that I might as well be in a position to bless them. When they come to me with their problems, when they come to me, when they approach me with their difficulties and hardships, when they come to me for advice, make me wise, so I might as well render wise counsel to these people.
So the Phoenix podcast show is about showcasing the rising from the ashes of people
Definitely.
coming from nothing.
I
believe you got a song about that. I don't know if you don't mind giving us a line from it and telling us what it means.
So, Handipere Power. All of my songs are based have this mantra, this coming from nothing mantra, are all based on that mantra. I have a song called Peter Pan. I have a song called Handipere Power.
Will you sing a line for us from it?
So Peter Pan says, Jaja God, mukanditora mundikanda kumsoro, kana getore serino yenda kumsoro, anu akawanda vanotemba nini, dema follow me. It's like I'm saying, God, if you elevate me, then everybody else is elevated.
Wow. Be a blessing, right?
Yes.
Bless me to bless others.
Yes, if you bless me, the whole ghetto, my people, the people from where I come from, and the people who resonate with my fiber might as well be blessed if you bless me.
I'm telling you today, my brother, that is a secret. In my own life, I'm not blessed because I'm a multimillionaire or because I run a big company. I'm blessed because God gives me favor. And the reason why he gives me favor, his providence. You said he's a God of great providence. Mm-hmm. He's a God who gives us unlimited resources. Mm-hmm. And it comes naturally because I'm blessing others with it.
True.
It's not for me.
True.
He would never bless me to just be a blessing for myself.
True.
And you as well. He's blessing you to bless all those people. Isn't that a beautiful thing? And you realize it. And you're working on that in your life every day. Mm-hmm. I congratulate you. I salute you. And I bless you. I really do. So coming back to how this doesn't go to your head, which is an important discussion, right? So I'll just read some of the accolades I picked up. In 2019, you were featured by Etana on No Money, No Love.
Yeah.
Reggae Forever album, top number 1 on Reggae Worldwide Billboard. Number 1 on iTunes Worldwide. Mm-hmm. Reggae Forever album nominated at the Grammy Awards for Best Reggae Album.
Yeah.
I heard there was even some Shona you introduced. I don't know if it's the right pronunciation. Usande wasted time.
Sunday wasted time.
Don't waste my time, right?
Yeah.
And you were the best male dancehall artist award you got at the Star FM's award. In 2022, which brought Zimmer Awards, you got the best male artist, best album, song of the year, the NAMA Awards, outstanding male artist, outstanding album of the year. So with all these awards and accolades and fame, how do you not allow that to go to your head and become so boosted in your ego, and it's all about you, right? And I want you to talk to the youth out there. In Zimbabwe today, you're correct. You represent the youth. You are part of the youth. 62% of our population is under 25 years of age. So they're slightly younger than you, and they're all looking to you. Mm-hmm. How do you talk to them, and how do you explain to them that how do you remain humble in those circumstances?
Remaining humble is more than just an art. Remaining humble goes back to your upbringing, how you got to attain the position that you have attained, how you were going through, and what you anticipated. Because honestly, if I tell you, if I was going to get $1 million today, I wouldn't shiver, I wouldn't shake, because somehow in my system, in my belief system, I have got that million already. It's not just in my hands. So coming into its physical equivalence will not surprise me. Hence, I will remain humble because I'm not going to be moved by this. But if this happens when you least expect, there comes the problem. That's when a lot of people I've seen, many youth would lose themselves with this fame and light, because it looks like overnight success. It just came. You were not aware. You didn't even anticipate these things. Within your system, you did not anticipate becoming a big brand, becoming a big artist, or someone that, for example, what is practical, people don't know if they're going to have a big song tomorrow. So when that happens, all sorts get into your mind. It gets to you. And before you know it, chances you will lose the plot. So you were not so ready for this wave. You were not so ready for this storm. So I've always seen myself a giant in the music industry. In Africa, I've always regarded myself as one of the best and one of the greatest musicians ever to live in this land of Africa to the world. I've always regarded myself as the person who's going to bring the Grammy, the BET, all of these international accolades for Zimbabwe to Zimbabwe. So having the best album in Zimbabwe is something that I saw in my spirit. I passed that stage. I lived that moment in my spirit a long time ago. I saw myself being the best in Zim until I told myself I was going to be the best in Africa to the world. Until I told myself I can contend as a Zimbabwean and export the art that we have in this country outside. I saw this, I lived this a long time ago in my spirit. So now, when I get 2 Namas, when I get 3 Zimas, I get 6 Star FMs, I got 13 awards with 1 album. It doesn't move me because I've lived this moment honestly before. That's why I remain humble. And I know what it took for me to come to that position. It takes a lot of discipline and a great deal of heart to be in this position and not fumble and not bend for likes and not bend for lights and not sell yourself short for things that are transitory. It takes a lot of discipline, a lot of heart, and a lot of grace from God, because I pray for this. I pray for humility, because I've seen how nasty it can be if you're not humble. Believe me, I've been in situations where I would tip myself, say, yo, this is ego coming up now. Relax. Remember where you came from. Remember how you started, and remember how uneasy it was, how difficult it was. Remember how God blessed people. Remember, it was never like this before. So now when you're in this position, relax and ground yourself, and you can only see further if you put. That's why I'm humble. And to all of those youths out there, humility is priceless. Humility is key. Humility is cure. It's medicine. Only when you're humble, you can see further. Only when you're humble, you can think better. Only when you're humble, you can use your logic and you can attach your heart and you can catch onto the frequency that God gave you in your instincts to behave and act right. Only when you're humble, you can change the next person's perspective. So it's essential you must remain humble. And by humble, I mean ground yourself. Eliminate all light every time. Move like you're on zero. Even if you're not on zero, move like you're on zero, and you can be able to move level-headedly.
Beautiful. My mama says cleanliness is next to godliness, but I think hearing you today, I would say humility is next to Christendom. Yes. And we are the light. We're the light of Christ. We have to shine. And his example was the servant leadership, to put others first, and I see you doing that, Nutty O. So coming back to this important discussion in the last few minutes as we wind up the show tonight, I wanted to hear from you the future, because I believe I'm a man of the future. and I look
Future.
forward. 26 years is my immediate goal. I'm looking at 2050 as my first achievement, 1 billion bricks in the ground for Zimbabwe. So as one brother to another, I see myself as the David and the Joseph also to build Zimbabwe, to get Zimbabwe on the map for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And you're doing it for the musical industry.
Yeah.
So if you were to look at the youth, if you were to look at your own path, where you are now, what are you working on, what album are you working on next, what project are you working on next, where would you see yourself in the next 10, 20, and 30 years?
You see, I'm seated right here telling you that the next 10 years, 20 years, Nutty O is going to be regarded as one of the most influential icons in the world.
Wow.
Not just musically.
Wow.
I intend to be great in many aspects. Just being a motivation to the youths. Going around the world speaking the right things, motivating, imparting the right knowledge to the youths, singing good songs, moving mountains with these songs, you know, taking accolades, performing on a global stage, impacting the world globally, you know, tapping into many areas. I'll also become one of the best entrepreneurs in the world, coming from Zimbabwe, Africa, coming from an economy like from the southern region. You get what I mean? And I have faith in it because already things that will confirm that have already started happening. Recently, I featured Bob Marley. Last year, I featured Bob Marley on a song. It was me and Winky D amongst some other African stars, David O, Stoneboy, Rema, Skip Marley's. And that alone can confirm where the future is going. Because if you ask me, two of the biggest artists ever to leave, Michael Jackson, Bob Marley. If you're a Michael Jackson person, you would say Michael Jackson. I would say Bob Marley. And I've gotten the chance to feature him when he's not around, obviously. But it means that whatever it is, whatever process I've been engaging into is working, and it's leading to a greater height. So going forward, all of these things will come to pass. Nutty O is going to be one of the greatest musicians ever to live. Nutty O is going to be one of the most iconic, influential individuals to the youth in this world.
That's amazing. I think we're going to have to close on that note, Nutty O.
Yeah.
This is the boy, as we've heard from the man himself, Nutty O. Thank you for being on our show tonight. And you have heard the message tonight. That vision, you can manifest it earlier on in your life, see it and realize it. From being almost a statistic on the streets of Mbari to becoming number one in the world. Thank you for being on the show tonight.
It's a blessing, Mr. Ken Sharpe. It's an honor being around. I enjoyed the conversations.
Thank you, my brother.
Yeah.
So that's all we've got for you tonight. Please pay it forward, like, share, and get this message out. Good night.
Faith, family, business, adventure. This is the Phoenix Podcast with Ken Sharpe.